trying to hide it. And I was like, why would you try to hide it? Oh, I see. Fahrenheit 451, or 451, or 451. So Fahrenheit 451 is a movie adaptation of the novel in which Michael B. Jordan plays Montag. He is a fireman, but firemen don't actually put out fires in this story. No, they actually start fires. They find literature, they find art, they find books, they put them in piles, they burn them. If you're caught with any of that stuff, they erase your identity and you essentially become no one, which means you don't have to pay taxes? I'm in. So Michael Shannon plays Montag's superior. Montag meets Sophia Boutella's character, and essentially after that he's like, maybe what we're doing isn't so good. And it's that story. It's essentially Equilibrium told again. Though Equilibrium was this story told again. But what makes me say this movie is more or less telling Equilibrium's story is this movie does something, and that is bring the story into the 21st century. See, when this book was written, the internet was not a thing. And they could have easily told this story in an alternate world where it's alright, the internet never really happened, they're still burning books. Though they do still burn books in this story, the internet is a thing. Social media is a thing. Even Michael B. Jordan seems to be some sort of rock star online. He has fans. When he's burning books, he's like, yeah, I'm the best there is. And full disclosure, I haven't read the book, so any gripes I have in this movie that are the same as the book, maybe I'm critiquing the book also. Best case scenario, I'm saying the movie and the book did the same thing, but maybe the book did it better. It had to have if it's a classic, because this is not a classic. Nor will it be a classic. See, the two main places where this movie fails is its world building and character development. World building is important in a story like this. You need to know how we got here. And although there are little tidbits and scraps that are thrown at you, you don't really know the path. I get that you're not really supposed to know the path. You just have to know that they ended up here. The path of history has been altered, if not wiped out, to people living in this world. So it's supposed to make you feel like they feel. It really is the integration of the internet and social media into this dystopian world that was written to have none of that. See, when a film does that, it creates variables of complication. You introduce one new thing, one new concept into your story, it makes way for many possibilities. So in an already established complex world, you introduce the internet. Now people have 100 questions about how that works. Is there someone on a cloud server who can just take information? There's one scene where there's an upload happening and they have to smash this computer. So obviously uploads happen. Is there a cloud server connected to the dark web? How was information so controlled with the internet? Granted, they do illustrate that the internet is a more refined version of what was once called the internet. But in a world where you see these people trying to hold on to culture, uploading files, essentially it still works the same. How is burning books gonna really get the job done? And if a movie doesn't properly set all that up and make all of it work, the audience is forced to take leaps. They shouldn't have to do that. If they do have to do that, that is a failure of the movie. I feel like actually doing this story with no internet, you can explain the internet existed, but we eliminated it because it was problematic. That would be fine. And Michael B. Jordan's character really flips at the drop of a hat. He seems pretty intense when he's burning books. He is like, I'm the best there is, yeah! Then he's like, I'm gonna steal this book. Why? That's so out of character for him. Maybe if you had a character that wasn't the rock star of the firehouse, maybe if you had a character who was like, I really don't feel like I have a place here, and he was doubting it from the start. They do a neat thing in here that shows even the people who point fingers are guilty of the things they point fingers at people for. I like that in concept, but not in execution. It wasn't enough for me to say Michael B. Jordan is going to flip at any moment. He didn't seem like he was that close to flipping. I guess there's a romance with him and Sophia Boutella. What? No. I didn't buy that either, and it's not the 90s. Like, I'm doing it for a girl is not a good enough excuse. Not a good enough excuse for him. It's not good enough character development for her. They even do this really illogical thing where, I mean, this is light spoilerish. Spoiler warning, there are these people, this group of people, who, what they do is, each of them has memorized a book, which is pretty intense to memorize a book. It's like, any movie that has that, you can make that leap for one character. Like Book of Eli, one character could do that, and okay, he's an anomaly, fine. Everybody in this house is doing that? That's a little strange. Especially when they have this one kid who doesn't look any older than 14. He's memorized over 13,000 books. Mathematically speaking, and I'm estimating his age here, but let's say he's 14. Times 365, gonna omit leap year for the sake of simple math. That's how many days he's been alive. He would have to read about 3 books a day once, and then he just has them memorized. And that's if he started reading books from the day he was born. Like, he just pops out, he's like, all right, give me Count of Monte Cristo. Even Powder's like, fuck, dude, that's crazy. Granted, they do make him act autistic. They never say he's autistic, so I assume he's autistic. He's either autistic or has Asperger's syndrome. But isn't that the simplest thing in cinema? It's like, oh, we need someone to have a really good memory. I don't know, make him autistic. There are worse cliches in the world than autistic people have good memories, but it just, in the words of Deadpool, well, That's just lazy writing. Because in the end, Fahrenheit 451 or 451, it's an interesting concept, it really is. But it's a concept we've now seen a lot. That's the danger of taking source material and bringing it into the 21st century. Essentially, any updated story that has that concept did the same thing. It's just called something different. It's called equilibrium. The directing, writing, and editing in this movie wasn't quite so polished. It just came across as, yes, mediocre. The characters were flat, light, very surface level. The best thing that could have happened to this movie is make it a season of television. It's on HBO anyway, so just make it one season of HBO television. 10 episodes long, could have fleshed out the world. We could have gotten a trickle of information as to how we got here. Could have gotten more attached to the characters, felt more conflict among the friendships. As it stands, this movie's really forgettable. It's just weird to see Michael B. Jordan and Michael Shannon in a movie that feels like it's just straight to TV. And it sucks. I will say I'm not going to remember this movie in T-1 day. Mediocre! Alright, so Fahrenheit 451. Have you seen it? Have you read the book? What's your favorite dystopian future? Favorite, could it be scariest? Whatever it is, whatever you think, comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here and you want to see more, click right here to see more.